What is up guys, Wraec here with a new video, and today we're going to check out Relentless Rumble. I already made a guide on Brawl 1, but today I got a message asking me something about Brawl 3, which was when I noticed that I didn't even make a guide on Brawl 2, so now I don't want to make a video for every single Brawl. So we are just going to go ahead and we're going to make one video now for all the Brawls, starting off with Brawl 3. Brawl 1 I'll keep a little bit short because we already have a full video on that, but I've spent the last hours basically getting the best lineups for you guys. Got place 1 on Brawl 1, place 4 on Brawl 2, but matched place 1, and then on Brawl 3 I wasn't quite that lucky, but we have lineups for everything, so you should definitely be able to get a nice score. Starting off, Brawl number 3, a bit of a special one. We got the Tide Dark Mage here, and if you don't know about those guys are basically permanently unaffected. So controlling them, not really a thing. Also, they will retaliate when you do so, and you deal less magic damage to them. So essentially, deal fist damage, don't try to control them. That was like the quintessence from it. They have a pretty mean ult, which we should also probably show. Ult is massive damage to the frontmost enemy, inflicts a spectral curse on them, which reduces the magic defense. This is this ability, and deals magic damage to them for 5 seconds, which is something you really want to avoid and can quickly kill your heroes off. Surprisingly enough, the best hero to deal damage to this is Talene, a magic damage hero, where I just said that dealing magic damage to those heroes is probably not a good idea. Talene does so much damage that in fact it doesn't really matter that they take 25% less damage, so that's not really a thing here. We buff with Sonya, we use the massive power of Wraec, and I have to say, like, I think the top meta team will always be Wraec on Relentless Rumble when it's not like avoided through a mechanic. Like if there isn't like one of those freeze elementals that just freeze your heroes, or just fist damage in general being massively nerfed, then Wraec is most of the time the best hero. And every single time really when we have Wraec in here, it is also possible to replace him with Seth. So every time you see a Wraec lineup here, you can use Seth in the same way. Because they are so similar, they work pretty much the same. You can use Seth, and then you will have, well, a little bit less kills overall. But it is alright really. What I also did, I prepared some attack screenshots from the Analytica side from you, so you can screenshot the builds to copy them and then just use them in-game as well. Once again, I see the same mechanic that I saw on the first one against Seth. Like on the last seconds, they become super tanky. I don't know why. It's a bit crazy. But yeah, we got a pretty decent attempt here. Actually managed to improve our rank right in this video. 68 right now, so this is a pretty crazy lineup. You can see Sonya there with massive damage. And we have Talene and Wraec as well, buffed by Smokey and actually Coco, because we struggle so much with survival. You can see how much damage they took. It's actually pretty crazy. And overall, I want to show you guys the different lineups now. So this lineup was found by Humpty Dumpty. He actually managed to get 70 kills with this. Full auto, so nothing you have to manual in there. And got an even better score. So it's definitely possible, it would have been definitely possible to actually match the #1 place on my server. It just wasn't that lucky. And as you can hardly see it right there, I also rebuilt this in attack for you guys, so you can take a quick screenshot and get this lineup for yourself. But of course, there were many heroes in here that not everybody owns. So I thought I would also bring you guys a free-to-play friendly lineup that you can use and that we can alter and that we can discuss some options for. And this is the lineup that I came up with. Well, basically, there were similar lineups in the Discord used by different people. I thought Frontline Spell was a pretty good option for this, as it greatly enhances your survivability. We're using Shark here. If you don't have a +10 Shark here, you will do a lot less damage here, as once again the +10 Mythic Plus ability gives you the Lupine Aura attack buff for all of your heroes, which of course helps with Seth. Linking him to Thorin here is very great for Thorin survivability, and of course Thorin being attacked instead of your other heroes will also help you. The Smokey is in here a bit as a placeholder. I saw some lineups that worked a little bit better using Mikola. Also, I kind of thought that many people don't own her. It's still like that. I see many accounts where Mikola is not a thing. So I tried it with Smokey. I was successful with it. But if you have Mikola, rather use that. Lily Maid, just to avoid the ult. Does a ton of damage, definitely, but also counters an ult from those dead tide mages, and that will definitely help you. So this is a free-to-play option. If you don't own Seth, Lenya is again there. There is the option to use Corrin. I would in general recommend going for melee physical heroes or true damage heroes. That is in general your option for the damage, and keep in mind you want to have your faction aura up, so don't get too wild with the combinations. Coming back into the game, Brawl number 2 against Sylvina, crazy hero. Most notable ability, really her instant teleport. We're fighting mythic versions right here, and for the first start we have this first strike ability, marks the closest enemy with a little sword over the head in a symmetrical position, flashes next to them and launches an attack when the battle starts. And we have the level 4 ability unlocked here, so this attack stuns the enemy for 5 seconds. So if you have enemy heroes in symmetrical position that are marked, they will be stunned right at the beginning of the fight for 5 seconds. And for our first abilities, well, those become Blade Vortex, our normal abilities, so those are actually abilities that deal a ton of damage, and that means basically we have a very, very offensive hero here, and we have the enemy above Blade Wrath, which means every third of them will actually have 50% more attack. So there is a certain degree of survivability that we wanted here. I saw some lineups where actually they use very, very defensive options. I saw Brutus even. I personally, this is like the meta lineup that I found. It works best for me. This is actually very, very beautiful. We will come to the attack and everything in a second, but I first saw this posted by Dookie Shoot, and you can really see the little marks here are all on our non-damage dealing heroes or little damage dealing heroes. The main damage dealers here are entirely exempt from them, so we only get these stuns on our other heroes, not really on our Wraec, and can instantly start dealing some damage, getting our Shark hero ult up, and that works really well. The problem is if your damage dealer are stunned, then they can take out a support hero every now and then, and that can become really disastrous. But you see the incoming damage here already. Coco down to being to 50%, and the Mikola actually being stunned for so long right now that she didn't even get her ult up yet, which can happen, and this is something that will influence your damage, of course. If your Mikola gets chain stunned or even killed like here, that is probably not one of your best runs and will probably not be the run where you get the really high kill numbers. The damage, once again, really insane, and in this fight especially you will come to the point that you will notice that your fights are sometimes over earlier than you might have hoped, because they really start getting strong towards the end. It is actually quite mad. We're going for 40, 41 here, not bad at all. I would say 42 was like the place one, so even though our Mikola died, we are on a pretty high pace here. 232 million from the Wraec once again. Wraec really being a key hero here, but as I said, once again, can be replaced with Seth. And this was first posted by Dookie Shoot. He really surprised me at 44 kills from that. Crazy. Couldn't even get close to that RNG, so that is pretty much a madness, but you can see how much potential that really has. And just like, I don't know his account, but just like looking at the top numbers here, those are like Paragon 1 heroes, so it doesn't even seem to be like super insane Paragon 4 or anything. Yeah, so definitely something to do. I made an attack from this, an attack build, so looks like this is the same way I set it on in game, and this will give you the nice distribution of those markers over there. Then I also thought, okay, well, once again we have Wraec in here, so having a free-to-play option would be nice. If you have Sonya, you can try just replacing Wraec with Seth, might work. Other than that, Iris another lineup, and one that I think should work pretty well. And that is this one from Artio. He has 36 kills actually without Wraec, which I think is pretty insane. He was running Lenya in there, which is also a pretty rare hero. But this is like a lineup where I think you can just adjust a few things, and maybe if you want to go ahead and put like a Seth in there, that should work fairly well. Lenya, of course, being a very interesting option with a very high crit, can do a ton of damage. But we find similar heroes here. Once again, have the Mikola, we have the Coco, we have the Shark here, and he had quite the interesting choice as an artifact, which is the Thunderclap spell, which I haven't really seen too often in those lineups, I have to say. Does a ton of damage. Maybe if you struggle with survivability and maybe a little bit of damage, I would try Frontline spell. That is something that I would recommend trying out. Might be a little bit better. But if you are struggling with damage, this can add a whole lot of damage separate from your entire team and from your hero quality to the team. So it's something that is really nice and got 4 likes. So I reckon some players really appreciated it. I tried it, worked well for me. I got to like I think 37, I think it was. So this is the attack for this. Same. Really, the half of the heroes are really the same as before, so not too much of a change. And this brings us actually to our last lineup, which I will keep a little bit shorter. So last lineup is actually Seth, where we are still on place 1 with 64 kills. Some people matched it, Shrimp matched it, actually Tholin matched it, so that's very, very cool. Was not this lineup actually, but actually this one. So give you a second to make a screenshot if you want to copy it. Let's see it fight. And on this one, I don't want to go too much into depth for the free-to-play options, as we've discussed them in my video on this. So if you want to have some more options for the heroes in there, we tried multiple different teams for this in my initial video about this. So definitely recommend you check this out. Some general words about this Relentless Rumble. I'm quite surprised by how many teams we saw with Sonya and Sharky. Those seem to become quite stable in this, unless they're driven out by some modifiers that are just in this challenge there, or just make it impossible to use them. Seth stays pretty much insane. Was quite fun to see that we have him as an enemy this time, even though for me I thought it was quite a difficult challenge to face Seth right here. I heard from some of the comments that it was indeed difficult for them as well, and at the same time I also heard exactly the opposite. So it was I'm a bit confused, I'll be honest. So maybe write down in the comments if you thought it was difficult. Yeah, what it tells me overall is probably in the long term a lot of people should invest into a Shark here. Plus 10 seems to be a reoccurring hero in not only our lineups here in Relentless Rumble, but also outside. And last but not least, well, we're looking at another season that is coming up, and I hope we're going to see Relentless Rumble there again. This is probably the last time we see it this season, and despite it not bringing, well, the most rewards, it has been quite a fun challenge for me, and I hope it has been quite a fun challenge for you too. For now, I hope the lineups that I showed you help a little bit. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask down below in the comments, or join my Discord server, link is in the description as well. Until then, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.